Cool. All right, guys. So we have a lot of fun stuff to do today. Today we're going to be celebrating period 9. It's the initiation. Today is a very, very special day for many reasons. It's essentially we are going through a major planetary alignment, which is one of the key reasons why I chose this date um, well, this entire week is super powerful
Muchísimas
because
gracias.
oh, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you guys. We are going through entering into period 9. It's coming into the Chinese New Year, to Chinese calendar, but also we are initiating a new era in vibrational frequency. And this planetary alignment is a way to flush out. So remember, you are a fractal of the universe, and every single one of the planets is connected to our organs, it's connected to our chakras. So when there are alignments like this, imagine that you are inside the body of a larger body of consciousness. And we are interconnected, and we are um, interconnected in such a way that we are both clearing and opening and aligning those energy centers in our body in a fractal form that allow our bodies to come into deeper alignment. Alignment with what? Well, that's up to you. The invitation and the opportunity with the alignment of the planetary system is to open up any blocked energy in the body that has been stagnant. Over the past year, period 8 was primarily about the focus of ending karma. Karma. So acknowledging repeated cycles, possibly reliving them in a very strong manner to the point where you woke up consciousness and you realized what it is that that is cycling. And this kind of awakening that has happened in the world is so profound because what's being awakened are deep subconscious blockages that these are ancestral blockages. These are things that have been cycling through our bloodline. You are the current representation of your bloodline, all your family members, of course. But how you hold your vibrational frequency in this current timeline, and those of you that are here are called to do that kind of deeper work. You guys are kind of looking at these greater archetypes of your ancestral lineage. You are healers, you are light workers, and that's a really it's a really beautiful awakening that that you're experiencing in this lifetime to do that kind of healing work because um, in the bigger picture of things, every soul that incarnates into this planetary system uh, has the opportunity to experience clearing heavy programs that limit the highest ascension point of humanity, the highest expansion point of humanity. So we are learning that. We uncover those patterns in our bloodlines and then we choose consciously to end certain things, and we are choosing creating a new human, a new way of existing, new way of being. So if you really understand what that means, and if you were to see, if you, for those of you that have the vision interdimensionally into what that looks like in your holographic DNA, in your energetic body, in multidimensional body, it's a really big thing. Because remember that every single choice that you make, every change that you're making in your life is affecting not only your earth lineages, but interdimensional fractals of yourself, which you're interacting with in dream time. And we are doing way more than we are aware that we're doing. So as you wake up deeper consciousness, what does that mean? As you become more aware of your multidimensionality, which is what is happening here in period 9, we are turning into multidimensional organisms. And we are turning in multidimensional organisms in a way that we are learning to harness this multidimensionality. And essentially, we want to cultivate all of the tools that are available for the human. We were born into this incarnation. Many of you that have seen many cycles of this earth, you're noticing how the transformations of the world are really affecting us. So the veil is thinning in a way. As we enter into period 9, this is the entry into a higher octave. What happens when we enter into a higher octave? Every cell of your body is changing. Every cell of your body is changing into a vibrational frequency that's higher. And any kind of stagnant emotions, like stagnant belief systems, collectively, archetypal embodiments of a lower octave that are hindering your expansion, your healing, are what are going to come to the forefront. So this year, those of you that are light workers in here, the invitation that we're doing is really clearing out these deep ancestral programs so that we can become very familiar with what it means to embody this new human, which is a complete restructuring of what we have been told that we are in a very, very profound way. Okay? We are beginning the initiation into the human leaving the old paradigm of existing in survival, existing in mindless, hive mind behavior that is disconnected from nature, that is disconnected from higher faculties, that is disconnected from the divine. And we are becoming the human that is multidimensional, deeply in communion with the divine, and that is working in harmony with its higher purpose, with its true nature, which is to be pure creators. Okay? And to become a creator, we have to be aware of our sovereignty. We have to be very proactive with our free will and our discernment. And that's really the invitation at this time, that we learn how to become that. And it's a complete restructuring psychologically, breaking away from old paradigms of belief, identities, attachment to ways of being, enslaving ourselves in emotional addiction, unconscious emotional patterns and repetitions of those addictions. So it's a major awakening for humanity. And so as certain, and this is a major year for technology, for those of you that came to my previous class talking about what this year would bring, it was all about artificial intelligence and robotics being at the forefront of this transformation. And for many, excuse me, I wanted to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. For many, that might feel intimidating. And of course, because this is the beginning of the road, we have choices. We have choices in how we take this change. It can either go down the path of further enslavement for humanity and complete disconnect from their divine and their higher faculties and organic technology, which is going to be the key of the development focus of this year and next year. For next 5 years, we are developing our intuition, our telepathy. We are upgrading this human body into its multidimensional mastery, because that will be the focus of your new survival paradigm. Okay, so as human organisms, we because we live in contrast, we're always experiencing some form of balanced existence and coexistence with our environment, with our other humans. So from going from a survival of complete disconnect of our mastery into the absolute mastery of ourselves in a way that we are becoming co-creators, this is the choice that is coming. So the cultivation of our higher faculties is going to be key. No more is it like an option to just have and just kind of use life experiences in this new paradigm, in this new octave of existence for the cells of this organic bodies. are going to be working with those frequencies. We are naturally processing more of them. We are naturally open to more of them. We are our DNA is activated essentially because you see DNA is the entire construct. It's the morphogenetic field. So if the entire universe is moving into a higher octave, all the cells in your body and all the processes of that information are also falling into that higher octave. We just have to get out of the way of the readjustment of the body into that. So waking up from the construct and from the hypnosis, that we are disconnected from those parts of ourselves is a big thing. And it seems like a cliche, it seems like something we've heard before, but at the level in which we're working right now, it's a little different. This year is about all of the ancestral karmic things that you've become aware of last year. We really need to choose if we're going to end them in this year, because for the timeline that is now arising for humanity, and of course we're constantly choosing timelines, the invitation is that we choose things that are in harmony with nature and with right order. And it's going to be very tricky making those choices. Trust me, there will be many things that will happen in our world that will sway us with sparkling lights and perhaps fear, manipulation, into thinking that our only choice is to go in the direction of the non-natural, the non-organic. So we have to be very awake, and we have to pay very close attention and have your core values and deep understanding of your connection to nature, essentially, and to higher values of love, unconditional love, of compassion, understanding compassion, understanding the effect of your choices, not coming from self-serving survival choices into a more collective understanding of the responsibility it's going to take. Every choice is going to take. Okay, so that's the thing. And I talked a little bit in my last class about the themes of this year, but essentially humanity, because AI and robotics will take a lot of regular jobs, everyday jobs that were once using humans. The thing about this is that some people will be afraid because we are coming from a paradigm where we have to work. We believe we have to work in order to own basic needs, basic things, our home, our food, to survive. This is what is going to change. And it's going to be very hard for a lot of humans because a lot of people from older generations are deeply, deeply ingrained that survival is the way of existing. So this is the paradigm change. And so those of you that are here, that are light workers, that are working with this, my invitation to you is to try to work with those things internally in yourself. How are you still attached to the old paradigms? Identity, that your work is part of your identity, that work is mindless survival behavior, into what is your purpose. And what do I mean by purpose? We have many purposes, but first purpose of the human in this organic system of consciousness is to exist in its most highest operating expression. Okay, so we can think of that as a collective purpose, right? In order to exist in this paradigm, in this construct, even to incarnate, our bodies have to be healthy, our mind has to be stable, our nervous system stable. We understand what it means for this body to be optimized and working in its optimum function. We have to come in a state of harmony and peace, creating homeostasis in the body, cultivating the 0 point of neutrality as much as possible, in order to navigate the ebb and flow of life experiences, in order to be a creator, in order to have open access to our intuition, and then applying that discernment with being connected with your muscle system, your nervous system, discerning through your body what is right and most in alignment and harmony with you, your family, your children, okay? And essentially your entire lineage, which is clearing up this old pain body of survival. Okay, so it's a very deep trauma that the collective is experiencing, but we are changing. We are changing that. So the rebirth, and this year, this period 9 is a year of fire. That's a fire year. That's the main element of this year. I'll open the presentation in just a moment. But the fire is about transmutation. It is about turning matter from one form into ashes. It's going through many phases of transmutation in the fire element, right? It turns into, it burns, it begins to melt, the form begins to dissolve, then it turns into ashes, and essentially it turns into dust, right? It begins to dissolve and disintegrate. So keep in mind this in the back of your mind when you're thinking about what you're here to do in this year, as an invitation for all of the things that we are deeply attached, that cause us harm, that cause us limitations in some way. These are the things that we are needing to transmute. Okay? Along with this transmutational energy is also the transmutation of energies of life force, working with primordial life force energy, alchemy, okay, emotional alchemy. In the same way that we're transforming matter, these bodies are changing into multidimensional, which means that in essence, because everything is moving to a higher octave, the frequencies of this matter are changing. Okay, so right now, in the past years, they're moving quite slow, pretty thick, we consider ourselves as matter, pretty rough matter that is tangible. So what is changing is that our bodies are changing. We are becoming less matter, this matter. We are becoming more interdimensional life force essentially. And this is the beginning of the transformation of our human race, because 60 years from now, our bodies will have changed tremendously. Okay. And the way that we see advanced civilizations and beings, we are going to exchange with them in person, because our vibrational frequency of our body will have changed to that level in which we are now interacting in these interdimensional ways. So those of you that are already contactees, you already have contact, interdimensional awareness, lucidity, essentially, in your interdimensional navigation. Those will be merging into our reality. So this is just, phase 1 of that transformation, and our human race we're like in the toddler phase, needing very much to mature, needing very much to mature. This will be a year of maturing, profound spiritual maturing, um, profound maturing of your belief systems, maturing of how you handle your body, how you begin to embody the divine. And that being said, the divine is the divine feminine energy, because the feminine energy, which is what is being born right now, it is being awakened. The divine feminine energy is being awakened in humanity. The divine feminine energy is the oracle. It is the connection to the divine. And it is the womb of your creation. Whatever it is that you are creating in your life, the harnessing and the healing of your divine energy, feminine energy, is the womb of all that you are creating. So as we heal the divine feminine within us in our ancestral lineage, pay attention to your ancestral lineage. Why? Because that's the subconscious mind. That's the subconscious mind. Everything that we are not seeing about ourselves and about humanity at large in the concept of the divine feminine, how feminine energy is held, is hidden in the shadows. The divine feminine represents the occult, the hidden, the subconscious, the darkness, the wet. And all of these aspects of the divine feminine are psychological, emotional, physical, and how we move interdimensionally. It's the quality of our energetic expression and movement in this world. So those of us that come more deeply connected to old paradigms of imbalanced feminine and masculine energy are going to suffer physically because it's going to be in a constant resistance, right? The imbalance of that feminine energy is all kinds of things: manipulations, lies, deceptions, um, you know, self betrayals, profound self betrayals, and all of that manifest into the physical, primarily affecting our bone structures, right? Pains in the joints, an inability to digest, an inability to release, an inability to transmute the heavy emotional thought forms that we might be holding in our body. So this is a year of clearing, and today is an incredible day for that because of the planetary alignments. It had started the 21st, but you can see it in the night sky, depending on where you are in the world, um, also. But energetically, these alignments are really helping our body open these channels for what? To integrate the higher octave consciously. Okay, so trust me, everyone is going to be integrating this alignment some way or another, at some level or another, how they do it. But those of you that are doing it consciously are able to mindfully witness and observe the changes that are happening in this world in a way that is more connected, a more intuitive manner. Okay, so beloved souls, let me get into the presentation. I am going to just open this up because we have a lot to talk about. And in the second hour, we're going to go into our hypnosis, which I'm super excited about because this is such a potent day for hypnosis and for getting into the subconscious mind and for navigating those realms. A lot is available to you, especially during these next 2 months, because of the cosmic movements. A lot of powerful dreams, a lot of lucid dreams, a lot of dreams that are very meaningful and filled with symbolism are coming to the fore. You are projecting into yourself so that you understand what needs to be worked on and addressed. So let me share that with you. And of course, if you guys have questions at any time during this session, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm going to open my chat center here nice and big so I can see what you guys are saying. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them. So when we talk about an initiation, what are we talking about? Initiations are times in which we are maturing. Well, first of all, from the genetic and interdimensional element, initiations mean change um, in the architectural system of our multidimensional body. Sound is a little metallic. That might be your bandwidth connection, my love, because I am connected to. Is everyone having that, or is it just Frody, or is it just me? Please tell me. Is it metallic sound is weird? Sound is fine. Yes, me too. Okay. So making sure we see what is the problem. It says here my sound seems to be okay. It might be the bandwidth. It might be the bandwidth of internet. I have hardwire connection, so I'm so sorry about that. Let me see if I can get subtitles going. Just has a nice little added help. I tried disconnecting and reconnecting and it didn't go away. Are you on your phone, Mish? Are you on a cell phone or a desktop? Laptop. That is very strange. Are you connected to Hardwire? No, Wi-Fi. It might be the bandwidth. Yeah. Great if I could see this menu. Okay. All right, we'll see. You know, I don't see the option for subtitles today. I wonder why. It's very strange. It's remote control. No. Rotate. Sorry everyone, bear with me just 1 second. Let me figure out why we don't have that. Are all my tools here? Captions, here we go. I'm gonna put captions in English just in case. And then we'll have a transcript later. All right, guys, thank you for your patience. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna come over here and open this up again. Here we go. All right. So, okay. Year of the Wooden Snake. Year of the Wooden Snake. In the five elements, as you know, each one of the elements fuels the other. What does that mean? Every single one of the planets is connected with your organs, and your organs are connected with the elements of the planet. So when we have like, you know, when we're talking about, this is in traditional Chinese medicine, but that Chinese medicine is also connected to, it's a deep study of our multidimensional body in connection to this earth construct. That's why Chinese medicine is so beautiful, because it takes into consideration the elements of this construct, and it breaks it down to its elemental connection to the human body. So we are, because we are a fractal of this universe and this earth plane, within our bodies, every part of our body is connected. So the wood element, as you know, each one of the elements is either fueling or, you know, extinguishing each other. And each one of the elements is collaborating to create a harmonious balance. It's an ecosystem of balance and harmony. So these are practices that have been practiced since, you know, the beginning of time, when we were much more connected to nature, much more in alignment and intuitively connected with nature. We could understand the elements through our body. The invitation is that we come back to that deep understanding in order to create harmony. What does it mean, harmony? It means health, no illness, no pain, no suffering, emotionally, mentally, physically. That's what I mean by harmony. And that we are co-creating in a way that is most productive for your soul experience in the physical. When I talk about purpose, I don't believe that we have one defined purpose for ourselves that we have to strive to find out. In my definition of purpose, it's like this. You heal your ancestral programs that you're cycling from, your karmic cycles. That's the number one key The human wakes up consciousness from the dormant state of hypnosis in order to recognize the repetitive cycles that they are repeating ancestrally, because you are not just you. You are a collection, you are the culmination, you are the manifestation of your ancestors. And those ancestral actions, karma, dharma is all encoded in your DNA. You hold that in the history of your DNA. In addition to being a earth ancestral organism, you're also a universal, a star seed, as they call it. You have many, interstellar um, genetic data in your DNA that you are activating as you become higher octave more and more. So in that collective memory, which is actually it's accessed through the morphogenetic field, the more bioelectrical and conducive you become, the more memory you have access to. You have more memory of your ancestors, which means that you have more opportunity to heal those ancestral limitations, pains, karmas, traumas, and you also are going to then also have more access to your interdimensional karmas, actions, and engagements. So that's part of your purpose. The second part, the second layer, which is my invitation, is that your body comes into highest harmony. When you clean ancestral karma, your body also comes into harmony and balance, because every single program that you're repeating is connected to the elements of the earth, connected to your organs, connected to your chakras. Okay, remember, our thought forms are extremely powerful because you are a creative being. You create with the words that you speak, you create with your thoughts, you create with your emotions, you especially create with your subconscious mind. So any time that our subconscious mind is unaware, dormant, suppressed, repressed, avoided, we fall into the repetitive cycles of karma through our ancestral lineage. That's the dormant state of humanity, which is what we're waking up from now. And remember, there is no right or wrong existence. In my humble opinion, everything is moving in a greater harmony. So we're neither victims nor we are extremely empowered at any one state. It is the human experience of experiencing duality is to experience both. Both. We experience both. And we're always going to be experiencing that. While you're incarnated and you're conscious in the third dimensional plane, we get to experience both. And we have to understand that, because when we don't understand that, then we get stuck in higher octave concepts that cannot be anchored into the physical, and we get lost and disconnected and disappointed because then we're like, wait, why am I still suffering? Why is there still pain? Why is there still all this stuff? Why aren't we coming into, why isn't everyone in a higher octave right now? So higher octave at a cellular level simply means that we have access to more conductivity in the body bioelectrically. It also means that we're oscillating. For that reason, we are oscillating at a higher octave, which means that we have access to more memory, which is DNA activation. DNA activation is access through higher conductive rates in the body. Okay, bioelectrically, we are oscillating at a higher rate. Your body, your toroidal field is spinning faster. So that's what's happening, and it's going to be incremental. When I talk about 60 years from now, our bodies being different, the Merkaba will be the basic structure of the human. Okay? It still doesn't mean that every human is going to be a high vibrational being of light and right harmonious behavior. It means that there's going to be more instantaneous manifestation, which means that karma will take place more instantaneously. So we're going to have to take more responsibility for our creations in a very profound way. Okay, so we are right now like toddlers barely learning our way for the majority of humanity. But as we move, we are going to integrate that, and I'm sure you guys see it. I see it very clearly in the world, how people are waking up consciousness and choosing different ways of being, even in their own ways, in whatever way they're doing it, you can see that there is a change in consciousness. So bringing harmony into your organism is part of your purpose. Okay, so healing psychologically, traumas, processing, learning how to process your emotions fully, basic things that every single one of us should already understand quite well. And then that equates to health, because illness is the stagnation of energy in the body. It is the resistance of emotions, resistance of energy, resistance of life force, the suppression of your life force, the imbalance of your life force in your organism. So we want to understand that, which is extremely important, and let me tell you why. Because what will change the human race right now from its organic state into a transhumanist human race is that the human understands this. They are self-healing, self-regenerating organisms of consciousness that have absolute ability to heal their own bodies. We are waking up from a profound hypnosis in which we believe that we have absolute dependency on an external source to bring our body into harmony. In whatever way, we do it psychologically, we do it biochemically, even technology that has drunken us or addicted us, like literally like a drug. We are addicted to media, news, whatever incites the chemicals in the body that keep us in survival. We have to understand that the psyops that is existing in our construct is the manipulation of your chemistry, the manipulation of through your emotional body. Okay? So the more that we're disconnected from the emotions, the more we are manipulated and driven to behave in ways that are inauthentic to the natural order of the human expression. So obviously everything goes out of balance. So the invitation at this time is that we begin to understand that. And this is one of the things that I'm going to really focus on, as I mentioned many times this year, because the more people that understand their ability to heal themselves, and the more people that will not fall prey to the agendas of these artificial intelligence systems that are being implemented in our world today. And they are being implemented in massive order. I pay very close attention to Genentech and to all of that gene therapy for the past 10 years, because the main thing that I got in my hypnotherapy in 2017 in that download was that we are having to choose between becoming transhumanist, and it is all based on the use and profound understanding of our DNA and how it functions. Your DNA is your blueprint to your body. It's the blueprint also to your multidimensional body. Okay, and the majority of people don't really understand that. They don't understand the depth of that. So we really are having to learn what that means. As we heal our bodies, as we begin to understand the value of our psychic information, because DNA, 2%, which writes the protein, the rest is writing holographic information. It is writing bioelectrical energetic information constantly in your field, which allows you to interact with your environment and other dimensional aspects of yourself. So our human body that is disconnected from that process will be manipulated through that way. And these technologies, which I've been following for the past 10 years very, very closely, it started with China and how they began creating monitoring systems for their cities, creating smart cities as they call them, what does that mean? That it's deeply connected to artificial intelligence. It's connected to quick, rapid computing, rapid categorizing database of information based on all your biometrics, based on all your information. But the element that has not been yet published completely is that your biometrical information is just one part of that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can't see here where it's just one part of that. The greater database of information is going to be your DNA, because your DNA and gene sequencing technology, which is now has been implemented into the medical system, is basically reading your DNA, and by reading your DNA and sequencing it in your, if you go to a doctor's office, it's going to say absolutely everything. It's going to talk about your history, your medical history. It's all in your DNA. It's all available for you. And that information is extremely valuable, because when it's used the wrong way, what will be brought forth is, you know, what you need to buy in order to fix the problems that you might be having in your history, that are causing your illnesses and imbalances now. However, what's not being seen is that all of these illnesses or imbalances ancestrally are a result of the disconnect from the divine. And we're missing that element. That's where the divine feminine is now coming into play. And this year, it's going to be the birth of the divine feminine. But in the next 5 years, that divine feminine is going to turn into the deep awareness of what that means in our physical world, in our psychological world, in our biochemical world. It's an entire restructuring of our multidimensional awareness, in the way that we use this intuitive information in order to bring the body into its optimum function. And so what these pharmaceutical systems are not taking into consideration is the profound network of information that is available through DNA. You can gene edit and cut DNA, but it's very early. We are not understanding how deeply interconnected DNA is with the morphogenetic field. Michael Levin, which I talk a lot about, talks about the bioelectrical system of memory that literally is providing the instruction manual for form. So when you start cutting and editing that, there can be mutations in a way that are not productive for the whole system. Again, part of maturing is coming into an understanding of holistic vision, holistic understanding, holistic consciousness. It means the whole picture, and we're taking into account that. So your bodies are becoming multidimensional, which means that you're becoming more holistic, energetically able to pick up on more broader concepts of yourself, and the human race. So this is the element that is going to be gently inputted into our human race as we are growing and moving through these transformations. Understanding the interconnectivity of ourselves with our natural environment. And the problem with transhumanism and this year of the snake is essentially that the human will think that editing illnesses out of your equation is going to be a quick fix. But in the long term, the side effects will essentially disable many other multidimensional aspects that the human has. So the mutation goes into becoming transhumanist beings that are essentially functioning like robots. What does that mean? You can consider gray beings, gray aliens, for example. They talked about gray aliens being unable to reproduce. They talked about gray aliens, and that's why they do the hybridization program. And I don't know if some of you have heard this, but species that we've encountered, those of us that are navigating interdimensionally, that have become parasitic. These species that become parasitic are products of the merging and the mishandling of their own genetic bloodline. And there's nothing wrong with that. In the universe, there's everything. There's parasites, and there's also creation beings. But we need to understand who we're becoming. And essentially, the invitation is that we don't become further parasitic. Parasitic means completely dependent on external sources to bring you into your optimum function. And that is never going to happen if you depend on something, because our intelligence is so highly organic and holographic that we are interdependent and interconnected to higher dimensional consciousness, higher dimensional aspects of our own self even. Okay, so our human bodies, as I mentioned before, I mean, we are part of a incredible system of information. We have pathways of frequency moving through every cell of the body, every organ, every part of your body is a vortex moving energy. So anytime we start changing things, and trust me, this technology will be productive for some people that are, you know, disabled, that are unable to access those parts, and medicine will help bring a new source of regeneration for certain humans in this world, and that's incredible. I cannot wait for that. You know, I mean, we have limbs, like, you know, we have the what are they, bionic legs and arms and limbs that are incredibly beautiful, right? And those that are in terminal illnesses that will need some of this technology to help them. But for those of you uh, that are teetering between your health constantly and your intuitive spiritual work, the invitation really is there for us to come into that empowered state of self-healing and to wake up consciousness to ending the ancestral karma that produces imbalance and disharmony in your organism and your lineage. That's the invitation at this time. And essentially, the snake, the year of the snake represents the shedding of skin. Also, if you study the nature of the archetype of the snake, it's about the shedding of your skin. The snake, you know, it uses its skin, it lives in its skin, and then after it just sheds it, it leaves it behind, and a new body is essentially there. So this is reminding us of our powerfully regenerative organisms. We forget that from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, our bodies are literally completely different. We've regenerated an entire liver, we've regenerated our lungs, we've regenerated the cells in our body. We need to wake up consciousness to what that really means. In that same way, we cannot be the same person that we were last year. We cannot be the same. You never are, never. And we are kind of in a hypnosis with this misunderstanding of time as a linear thing where the past is, that's it, the past. It is spherical. Time is spherical. Everything is happening simultaneously. The more you come into the present moment, the more you have the ability to work with what you are shedding and what you are birthing in your physical organism, mind, psychologically, bioelectrically, biocreatively. Okay. So questions that we want to answer in today's session for your hypnosis. What do you need to transform in order to be in deeper harmony with yourself? Okay. This is a very important question this year. If you don't know the answers to these questions, the universe will make you answer them and make you aware of them. That's just the law of accident. If that's not something to fear, it's something to motivate us to wake up and remember yourself in this present moment. Because every time you fall asleep, something has to wake you up. Your oscillation of your body begins to slow down, but the universe is moving faster now. So if we're not moving along with the cycles of regeneration of the collective, our body begins to come out of harmony, right? It comes out of harmony. So, you know, we gently need to bring the body into alignment. How do we do that? You must come back into communion with nature. What does that mean? That means that we have to slow down. We have to be present. We have to activate our five senses. What are you hearing in your environment? Activate your higher faculties. What are you smelling? Half of you are so asleep you don't even know the smells that are around you. What are you tasting in your mouth? What are you truly eating? Why are you eating that? What is in what you're eating? In this day and age, we cannot ignore the agendas of major corporations that only care about money rather than the health and sustaining of your organisms. You must become a person of deep reconnection to your body and choose consciously what you are feeding this organism, because your body is made of light and everything is energy. Everything is energy. There's a beautiful video of that was made with this, I forget what the name of the technology is, but um, it looks at the bioelectricity of objects, right? What's the name? I forget. If anybody knows, tell me. But it looks at the bioelectricity of objects, right? So there's this video where a leaf is cut in half, and then the leaf is put underneath this machine to look at the light emanations of the particles of the leaf. And the leaf, even though it's cut in half, it's still showing the trace of the entire leaf because it's a bioelectrical network that is a holographic system of energy. Okay, so we need to remember that's what we are, and when we eat, that's what we're eating. That's what we're introducing into our bodies. So artificial dyes, they finally banned one dye. Great, but we need to, if they're not proactive about this, we have to be, in those of you that are in the US, this election, for example, and the choices and the things that are going to be as a product of this election are gonna force you Americans, but also this is a collective thing, not just for Americans. We are being forced to choose a healthy way of existing. So if the choices of this of the world of these major systems, and it's not about the American government, by the way, because these are global choices, because our global economy is run by these banking systems which are completely tied to corporations. So every single human on this planet is driven and put asleep as a result of these things. So we have to wake up consciousness and choose things that are healthy for ourselves and for nature, for the ecosystem, for example. Okay, we have to choose that. No more do we have to depend on being told or being allowed to behave correctly. Now the human has to mature and has to discern very carefully. It's in your hands. It's going to be, the power is shifting from the 1% to the millions of humans that exist on this planet. In order for that to happen, a certain element of rebellion has to happen. You have to wake up and you have to understand what is good for you and for humanity and choose that consciously. So, how do we fall deeper into harmony with yourself? Discernment, profound discernment of yourself, regulated emotions. Okay, so if you're not working weekly, daily in meditation, minimum of 15 minutes a day, to learn to regulate your emotion, to come back into the 0 point, and from there, make that 0 point, introduce that 0 point into your way of existing in every area of your life. Awareness of your programs. Again, what are you cycling ancestrally? Whatever it is, limitations, unworthiness, insecurities, angers, profound resentments, collective resentments, everything that keeps you in separation from yourself and others must and will dissolve as we move into a more unity conscious human race. So ending those programs, mind, body, and soul, essentially. Also be aware of your stored pain. What kind of pains are you holding in your pain body that you've been kind of nursing, babysitting? Oh, I don't really want to get rid of that yet. You know, I'm still kind of having fun with this, or I'm still suffering. I'm addicted to the suffering still. I'm addicted to the pain. It's part of my identity. So I'm just going to hold on to that. Okay. So be aware of what you're storing, the pain that you're storing in your body, and learn to be compassionate with yourself. This is part of the maturing aspect, to be deeply compassionate with this organism. No more am I going to take my body into addictive cycles of pain, suffering, and self-loathing, hatred, emotions towards the self. Suppressed anger. This is a really big one because this year is about the element of fire, which is about these combustible internal energies that have been suppressed for a long time, that are now coming to the surface, and they will explode. All of the hidden truths of our humanity have already been coming forth in the past few years, and more will come. More things that will blow your mind. And some things, for those of you that have been kind of paying attention over the past 30 years, you might not be as surprised, probably heard some of those things in the back end. But a lot of these suppressed things are going to come to the forefront, and a lot of anger is going to be rising. Why? Because people are going to realize the effects of their sleep, what their sleep has done. Being asleep means contributing to the suffering of others. Because when you're sleeping and you don't understand how your actions are affecting the bigger picture of things, you're also contributing to the suffering of other humans. So, you know, major injustices in this world that have been taking place, let's wake up and take a look at them with compassion so that we can begin to make choices that are more harmonious in our own communities. And working with that anger, understanding how deeply empowered we are, even though our choices may have caused us pain in the past or others in the past. The important is to focus on the present moment. That's really important for this year. Being absolutely present with yourself. What's happening right here, right now. All of the distractions of this world that will take you away from being in right order and right harmony with yourself are going to be using your inability to be present with yourself. Okay. Suppressed fear. That's another deep one, right? Because if we start, and one of the things is like fear of truth. Fear of truth is going to be a big one for a lot of people, because every time that we go from one paradigm to another, we're going to have to see things that we were completely disconnected from previously. And that's going to create a fear of truth. So please make friends with truth. That might seem like something so simple and obvious, but in reality, it's hard to be ready with truth, because to be friends with truth means to be friends with the unknown. It means to be friends with the inability to control things directly. We want control, right? The illusion of control. We can control what's going to happen outside. We can control others' opinions of ourselves, the way they see us. You cannot control anything other than yourself. And it's when you control yourself that you can affect your environment from the inside, bioelectrically, through the field, through the morphogenetic field, telepathically, psychically. You can affect matter, right? Because, but in order to do that, you must come into the 0 point, and you must work with these little emotions that drive you away from being, seeing true intuition. Anytime your emotions are underregulated or overactive, your intuition is skewed, because your perception is fueled by emotions, and emotions are the bioelectrical systems that sustain you either in a higher octave or in a lower octave. If you don't know your subconscious beliefs, you're operating at a lower octave and you might not even be aware. Okay, so this is super important. Next is essentially embody the most strategic use of your gifts, right? So what happens when you start healing yourself? What is healing? Becoming whole, expanding your perception, getting out of myopic views into more expanded perceptions of yourself through healing of your limiting belief systems. What happens is that you essentially begin to activate your gifts. Okay, what are your abilities, your psychic abilities, your healing abilities? Every single life story, every life experience that you had is to educate you and train you and prepare you for the implementation of the alchemy of those things. The alchemy of those things heals you, your lineage, your relationships in your life, but also bioelectrically, the healing of that expands and activates DNA, makes you more conducive, which means bioelectrically you can process higher octaves of information through your body, which the direct result of that is super high intuition. um, all your senses are heightened, and then the abilities of the human that are innate to the human: telepathy, okay, remote viewing. These are basic tools of humans. Basic, not advanced, basic. Self-healing your body, self-regenerating your system. Um, and then essentially, at some point, we are developing telekinesis, but that will become more easy as we go into the higher octaves collectively. Okay? The point is not to have cool superpowers. The point is to master your organism, your multidimensional organism, to come into right order and harmony, and to learn how to work with those ethics. From here, each one of you has your abilities more developed than another aspect of yourself. So check your five senses. Which one is most developed for you? That will give you an entryway understanding of what your gifts are. Develop, work on those gifts. You will need those gifts for when the world changes paradigms. When we are no longer survival enslaved by unconscious actions on a daily basis to survive, humanity needs to move into an intuitive creator. We will come back to the true purpose of humanity, which is to be connected in communion with nature, to be in harmony with that, with the oracle and with the Father, right? Which is creating communities of co-creation, essentially. So those of you that will eventually, and I'm not talking to everyone directly in this group, but those that are working in jobs that will be replaced are going to find themselves not knowing what they're going to do. Well, what am I here for? What's my purpose? How am I going to survive? So that's going to change into coming back to the self. What is my real? What really, really makes me happy? What really fulfills me? What fills me with so much joy and love? Those things that once used to seem stupid are going to be the core essence and the value of the human civilization. And this is what will bring us into a higher octave civilization. So the human that embraces their gifts and begins to implement their time, their energy, that will be the healing of the earth. It'll be the healing of each other, healing of your lineage, and healing of the earth. So we need to prepare for that, because a lot of people are going to have a very hard time for that, because we're ending an old paradigm. And so those of you that are interdimensional have that in order to anchor and help usher and guide those into new ways of seeing. Those of you that have encountered higher civilizations already understand that. And you understand the repercussions of that creative power, the responsibility behind that. It's not just fun and games. Instant manifestation means taking pure responsibility for your creation, understanding the consequence. So that's why it's a maturing. And we want to employ our gifts in a very beautiful, powerful way. So that being said, as I was talking about, right order, and one of the things that this year is going to highlight is our relationship with self-control and restraint, understanding your vices and your addictions. And why this is important is because a lot of us have already become transhumanists. We are already transhumanist organisms, because we have been quietly participating in the creation of artificial intelligence through our attachment to certain technologies, and now have become addicted to that. A lot of people, and that's already becoming transhumanist. We become biochemically dependent on certain ways of being, and it's appalling. I mean, I see little children connected to their devices, and then just crying when they are disconnected from that device. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is creating a mutation in the collective DNA. Understand, these kinds of actions, everyday actions, affect this system, this holographic system of information. So we need to learn and be aware, what are our addictions? And your addictions can be different. It doesn't have to be technology. It can be to sugar. It could be to other things, which, you know, sugars are implemented, chemicals are implemented into our food for the exact same addictive reasons, right? So this is going to be a time of major awakening and consciousness, and love, incredible amounts of love towards yourself. Real love is to see the truth of your condition and your state, and to embrace what is most healthy for yourself, mind, body, and soul. Okay, then let's talk about love, because the human race is learning how to love. We are learning what love is, and that is the reemergence of the divine feminine. The divine feminine um, is the integrative womb that brings love into manifestation. Okay, so the union of the alchemy is the marriage, right? The divine marriage between the father and mother. Your integration, your harmony that you create in your body within your feminine and masculine aspects of yourself, the healing of the traumas, sexual healing. That's a thing we're going to talk about in just a second. How we look at sex is going to change in the future, big time, because everything we've been told about sex up until now is wrong. It's wrong. And it's one of the greatest enslavements of humanity. Their ignorance of their most potent primordial life force. And right now, the way we look at sex is like, why are we talking about sex? This is a spiritual class of period 9. You know, what does that have to do with anything? It has everything to do, because your creative energy, your sexual energy, your primordial energy is your exchange, is the way that you exchange life force. With what? With everything. People, places, things, money. It's a money energy. Right now, we are suppressing understanding of sex in the same way that we suppress our creative abilities, our intuitive abilities. It's all the same frequency. Why? So the human race is enslaved. When the human race begins to understand their creativity, when they begin to understand, when they heal their sexual wounds, they can now connect to their intuition, which will allow them to develop their gifts that will now sustain them in a more harmonious manner. Okay, so the way that we looked at our sexual energy, how we're creating, what choices we're making, all of that is so deeply interconnected. And these are the things that have been eliminated by churches, by religion, for the past however many years. I don't know the exact number, since religion was first incepted into our human race, to create concepts of shame, concepts of guilt, deep playing and manipulation of shame and guilt, um, and messing psychologically with our understanding of divinity, purity, innocence, right? So very difficult to access innocence. Um, in these things, but actually you are innately innocent, you are innately divine and pure. It is the external that pollutes the mind with these ideas of impurity, but we misconstrue what is not natural, right? All the things that your body does, smells, you know, liquids, juices, it produces saliva, whatever it is, these are natural things. But one of the things that come up in my healing sessions and DNA reprogramming is like a profound disgust for the self. We hate ourselves, and we are so programmed to look at natural things in a way that is inverted. So this is healing from humanity this year. This is healing big time. This will be a major collective healing of humanity to come into its pure state of co-creation. That being said, we are developing balance, recognizing balance. How do we maintain balance despite pushing boundaries of our creation? Because now that we're coming into a new way of creating and existing, um, we're going to feel like things are way out of balance. So the key for this is to cultivate stillness. Become friends with stillness, become friends with grounding. Grounding is going to be so key. We are not there are some parts of our spiritual communities that put a lot of attention into interdimensional contact, into channeling information, and listening to other channelers, and externalizing your power. So somehow, in some ways, spirituality has become another form of religion, and this has to change. One of the most important things that I got in a download a month ago about all of this information is essentially telling us that what we think is spiritual right now, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. What has always been true and what will always hold to be true are the natural laws of the human. Okay? So coming back to basics. Those basics are what hold to be true forever, because it's the nature and the laws of this construct. Laws of resonance, laws of how love alchemizes things, the love of how the laws of um, uh, cause and effect. That's the basics. And honestly, that's all you need to know in order to access higher octaves of information. You master those basic laws, you can access the infinite libraries of information into the Akashic records naturally. So try not to be distracted by those that try to complicate, not even just complicate, just take away from those basic truths of our gifts and our abilities. Because a lot of fascination is put around a lot of things, and I will say that um, a lot of the concepts of star seeds and aliens and those things, um, they are extremely important for us to understand them, but there can be a time where they can be distracting. And so my invitation to you is to notice when that does happen. We should be exploring, and we should be promoted to, supported and pushed towards exploring our interdimensionality, understanding that we are everything. You are all the starseed lineages, and to develop that awareness, discernment, interact, travel. Don't be afraid of seeing these different aspects of ourselves in these dimensions. That kind of exercise is going to be important for this new human race that we're coming into. But to be completely tied and entangled in or stuck and limited by what you find is just going to harm your understanding of the bigger picture. Because those you discovered Pleiadian, okay, great, but then it's like, oh, I'm Pleiadian, nothing else Pleiadian. Understand these are also archetypes. So we have human archetypes, and then those are another higher octave of archetypes, all these species that we're interacting. We need to understand that and learn to even transcend that, okay, as we broaden our perspective into what we are. So again, balance, come back to the basics. The basics are always going to be those fundamental core connections to yourself, to nature, and to those laws. What that will result in is in the healing of the earth. And this is a big theme for this year. Fire element is a transmutational element. There's been a lot of fires, of course, but that's just the half of it. That fire, that energy, that potent combustible energy of creation, instead of seeing it as death, it's the invitation to see it as creation energy. And fire energy is deeply connected with our sexual energy as well. So learning how to commune with nature, to respect nature, in a way that we are not polluting and damaging our earth with our actions and our choices. We need to learn to heal. We heal the earth grid in many different ways. The first way is through our ancestral healing. And that's one of the most important ways that we're healing the earth grid. Okay? The healing of our ancestral programs, limiting beliefs, karmas, traumas is the healing of the earth. And when you work, for those of you that have worked with me in DNA reprogramming, you have experienced that. You begin to look at your histories, you go down to the root cores, and you look at the connections of those belief systems in the planet Earth, in the earth grid, uprooting those, integrating fractals of yourself to become one. Okay, so primordial life force, alchemy. This year is about transmutation. Primordial life force is your DNA. It is all of the it's the aspect of yourself that is basically your code, your DNA, your blueprint of who you are. What is your relationship with power? Okay, that's going to be a big question, because as we are kind of shifting in our perspective of ethics of this world, as we create a new way that is more harmonious for humanity, people's relationship with power will be challenged. We need to understand our personal power. Again, can you heal yourself? Can you remove the headache from your body? Can you alchemize the emotions that cause the headache in your body? That is real power. That is the use of your life force in a regenerative way to sustain harmony. When you heal yourself, because you are a fractal of the world, you heal this world. So understand the connection between yourself as a holistic organism and the bigger picture. Can we integrate this power in a way that is its highest alignment to the whole? Right? So when do we misuse power? When do we abuse power? Be very mindful of that. One of the things that I'm really noticing that is kind of happening is that it's an interesting little kind of like psychological manipulation about political systems. And they've always existed, but we need to come back to ourselves. Okay, we need to pay attention to ourselves, because your ability to discern truth is gonna depend on how deeply you are in the present moment. Okay, so that's gonna be very important. So healing the wounds around power. For all of you that remember your past lives, that have been sorcerers, godlike beings, healers, seers, oracles, and didn't use that power correctly, or hurt yourself with it, or hurt others with it, heal those wounds. Because one interesting thing that's going to happen in the future is that the people that have been genetically modified, which we are all genetically modified to a certain extent because of the foods we eat and our lifestyles, but those that are not proactive about their choices in the moment, they're eventually going to be harming their DNA in the long run. They're damaging their DNA. The more transhumanism you become psychologically, psychically, physically, excuse me, because yes, we can become transhumanism in all those different categories, which we already are becoming, as I mentioned, but we disable DNA. And so to heal the DNA is to become highly conducive. That's how you heal DNA. Being highly conducive means that you're learning how to rotate your vortex in a faster manner. What does that mean? That you're moving the debris of your emotional body, clearing your chakra bodies. That should be energetic hygiene 101. But essentially, the power shifts are going to change in the next well, by 2027 we're going to really see this already. Okay. But the power dynamics are going to change in the world. And there will be kind of like a second inquisition, or what is it called when they were burning the witches? That kind of a thing is going to happen again a little bit in the future. Okay. Why? Because those that have sustained organic abilities are going to be very important, very valuable. And those that have become more transhumanism are they're usually going to be the people that, it's going to be a lot of the 1% actually. And it's going to be a lot of the people that use their money to gain power. That's going to change. So the people that will become valuable on this planet Earth are going to be those that have cultivated connection to nature, connection to their abilities, to their discernment and their intuition. So we need to pay attention, and those people are going to kind of go more into nature, more away from these cities, and that's okay. We'll talk about that actually on Tuesday. I'm hosting a webinar on this topic. If you guys want to join me, it's free to register, and it's going to be on the Advanced Medicine platform. That used to be owned by Dr. Buttar, who passed away, but his organization is still hosting educational lectures on advanced medicine topics and all this kind of stuff. So you can join me there if you like. So yeah, so this is really important. Finally, when we talk about the alchemy and the transmutation, as I mentioned, our concept of sex is going to change, but our concepts of relationship are also going to change. Okay, how we exchange life force and energy, that's something that period 9 is going to be really huge about. How do we exchange life force with one another? And sustaining balanced exchanges. Be very mindful of imbalanced exchanges. Do we deplete our energy by the end of the day? Are we completely depleted, or are we nourished all the time? We should be nourished all the time. Why? Because you're aware of your needs emotionally, physically, mentally, and you meet them. You meet your needs as you go in your everyday life, every moment. No more is it going to work for you to ignore your needs. I'm thirsty. Oh, I'm too busy. I can't drink water. No, not going to work anymore. That kind of communion is what is being called for, that level of consciousness. Okay? So, yeah. All right, my love. So that brings this presentation to an end. I'm gonna stop here because I want to take some, if anybody has questions, I would love to answer those questions. And yeah, let me see in the chat here. Garadeshaf, Elaine is leaving. Okay, but I want super cool powers. You will, Sal. You will, and you already do. There seems to be some background noise. I'm not sure why there's a background noise. You guys still hear it? Let me know. Let me open the floor for questions. Anybody have questions that you would like to ask? And then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to go into our hypnotherapy. Any questions? Concerns? Bish, the more I try to heal, the more comes up and I start to get discouraged. Any advice? Yes. All of the healing that we are doing distills down to one choice. Are you choosing love or fear? It's that simple, and yet that difficult, because it's challenging, because we are more familiar with fear than we are familiar with love. Your job in your healing work is to understand how many times, how many ways have you learned in your life to not love. Love yourself, love others, primarily yourself. Healing is simply loving yourself. Love yourself, accepting yourself, regardless of the stories that have happened in your life. And an important thing will be to kind of let go of the stories that you hold on to so tight as part of your suffering identity. We hold on so tight to our trauma. We hold our trauma like a badge. I have this trauma. This is my trauma. This is my trauma. Everywhere we go. What a limitation when you are so vast and you are pure, infinite potential. So let go of the traumas that no longer need to be repeated. Okay. And that's one of the hardest parts in the healing process, is that it came to a point where, like, okay, I'm going in circles. Like, I keep seeing this pattern in my life, but I don't know how to break it. You have to let go of your attachment to the identity of being a traumatized human and allow yourself to be curious of what it is to be non-traumatized human. Simply, it's the human that lives in the present moment. It's the human that accepts radical self-acceptance. We were hurt in the past. Okay, yes, hurt in the past a million times. It's not here right now. Right now, you're here in the present moment. You're safe. Nothing's killing you. Nothing's attacking you. This is what is real right here. And you'll notice, even in times when someone is attacking you, you still have the power to be fully in the present moment and to choose what you want. So, whatever comes up, be resilient in your healing. Do not get discouraged. That's why this kind of work is not for the weak. It's not, and what do I mean by weak? What do I mean by weak? The human, and I'll tell, I mean, from my own personal experience, you just get like tired. You're tired. But the thing is that what you're tired of is exactly what you're resisting. That exhaustion comes from the resisting of feeling your own emotions, acknowledging your own emotions. When I say let go, I mean process your emotion. Sit with your emotion. Allow what is suppressed. It's that simple. I see clients that are suppressing emotions for 15 years. We sit down 2 hours, okay, but you feel the emotion. And finally, they're free. It's like, oh my God, this is what I've been, resisting all these years. All you had to do was sit with the uncomfortable, yucky feeling in your body and let all those emotions come up so you can understand yourself deeply. And as you begin to name out the emotions, acknowledge the emotions, you're acknowledging parts of yourself that you have suppressed. The suppression of that heals your body. The release of that suppression heals your body. And the next part is to learn to feel, acknowledge the opposite. Okay? So if you lived a life of stress, anxiety, constant survival in order to be heard, to be seen, hear yourself, see yourself, acknowledge yourself, be there for yourself, become your mother, become your father for yourself, and meet those needs. And the more that you feel compassion for yourself and love, you alchemize. So this is really important. Okay, I hope that's clear. But this is a complex, and trust me, I am not ignorant to how deep these emotional things are. I love to dive deep into them. On my YouTube, I do have those videos that you might be able to access, like emotional mastery, for example. 30 days of emotional mastery could be great because it kind of accesses different facets of your emotions, which we all have. Charles says, I'm stepping into purposeful projects this year. How do I deal with the doubt and fear kept creeping up? Yeah. So again, this is an ancestral thing. So another note on Misha's comment also, why does it keep coming up? Because you're trying to dissolve what generations before you have been programming into your nervous system. So yeah, it's going to feel terrifying. Like, we need to let go and we need to be confident. Being confident is terrifying because no one in your lineage has done it before. What you'll notice is that a lot of humanity is not confident, truly, truly confident. We play lots of games, we wear lots of masks with ourselves, but true divine confidence is not something humanity is quite familiar with. So you need to understand you're paving the path. It's gonna feel like lonely, because there will be not a lot of people that will relate to you until we keep progressing in humanity. Be okay with that. Be okay with creating a new paradigm. You guys are kind of the light leaders in this way. Okay, so radical self-acceptance, everything that your ancestors have done to fear and to doubt, whatever they're fearing, whatever they're doubting, accept it. Tomorrow morning, wake up with the opposite of those emotions. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to understand this new way of being. I remember it was a choice for me because I kept cycling. And then I was like, no, you know what? No, today we're going to change it. And then that's when the real change started to take place. It's natural because when you're moving into a higher octave, it's completely unknown. And you have to be, when you come into authenticity, it feels really vulnerable. If you have ever been really authentic in front of other people, in your family, for example, which is the most challenging, because your family is used to you behaving a certain way. Your friends, your family are used to that. You've created energetic cords of memory, of behavior, and bioelectrical exchange. So to break that pattern, you have to sustain this profound, you have to be okay with your authenticity and to hold space for yourself. Nobody will hold space for you. You have to hold space for yourself. It's going to feel uncomfortable for a moment until you understand the value of your authenticity. Because your authenticity creates a chain reaction in the field. In this quantum field, in all the fields, it creates a chain reaction where it forces other people to wake up from their dream state. And that is uncomfortable for everyone. So we have to build the resilience inside ourselves to be in this discomfort that is closest to truth and authenticity. That is the true human power. And that's where we come into these states of deep empathy for ourselves, for others, compassion, intuition, discernment that is really productive. We don't need intuition to fantasize about anything. The intuition should be used as a daily tool to navigate your everyday life. That's the embodiment of intuition. So please work with those patterns. And you got to make a choice. That, and the final part of that is love. And sometimes I think I forget to say this because I think it's obvious, but the alchemizing power is that you love yourself so much that you will not betray your authenticity. You will not betray your true feelings, your love of yourself. You will keep your body in homeostasis, no matter if the world is falling apart, doing wrong things everywhere. You love this organism and you sustain it in right order. So that kind of resilience is extremely important at this time. And that love is the alchemizing power that will keep you exactly where you deserve to be. Because from there opens timelines of opportunity, always. When you choose love in yourself, when you love yourself, it opens timelines to things that are attracting and healing you. How do I practice non-judgment each moment? I do catch myself judging people, places, and things. Okay. The key to this is to see yourself as you really are, to see things as they really are. Okay. So there's two parts to this. In order to see things as they really are, we have to be no longer afraid of truth. We don't realize how much we lie to ourselves in our everyday environment. We go out shopping, we see people do things. We know exactly what people are doing, why they're doing it, but we ignore that and we just go along with it. Do you know how many times we just see things happening and we just go along with it, like because we're not authentic with ourselves, we're not acknowledging what is right for us. So it's about being okay with seeing truth, learning how to work with your nervous system. Whenever you see something that is contrasting or horrible or wrong, can you sustain your nervous system? This is what meditation is for. In your meditation, look at your life, look at all the traumatic stories that you're holding on to, face on, and learn how to sustain the 0 point as you observe every part of that. Put yourself in father's shoes, mother's shoes, wife, husband, child's shoes, so that you understand and can still sustain a regulated nervous system in all of those perceptions. That is the real surrender. That is learning how to control yourself. That is real control, self-control. Okay, and another thing here is that in the process of cultivating neutrality and non-judgment, I wanted to say something and I forgot. What was it? Okay, I don't know. We'll just keep going this way. To cultivate that non-judgment, we need to begin to see things as they are, but also you need to see yourself as you really are. And what are you? You are energy, you are light. Okay, so remember that this construct, the physical construct, is an illusion in that it's not really material, solid matter. In reality, it's energy, it's life force. You are energy. The problem is that we see each other and everything as solid, and we believe this construct so much. Boy, do we believe it. We have to open the real eyes. Everyone is a light, and so are you. See people as light. See others as light. This is why I tell you to activate your crown chakra. When you activate your crown chakra, you see things more as light than in their physical manifestation. This is the key to transcending judgment and to be coming into this deeper connection with your intuitive discernment. And using your empathy in a proper way that you sustain balance, proper boundaries. Okay, so just because you can feel everything doesn't mean you have to. That's something that was a powerful lesson for me, because when I was ripped wide open in my energies, oh my God, I could not even walk down the street or down the hallway, that it would just hurt me. I would feel everyone's emotions. And I see a lot of shows about this empathy that people have that they cannot control. It's like a baby that doesn't know how to walk or speak properly. Your inability to use your empathy properly to create boundaries and to learn when and when not to tune into other people is part of your maturing process. Okay, so there's infinite amount of information. We need to economize our use of life force in a way that is productive and self-sustaining. That's love. That is actual love. And it's also abiding by the laws of the universe, because free will says every single human has the right to experience their truth. We need to learn to respect that for yourself and for others. In this caught up illusion of the material world, we think, oh, let's change that person. Let's go have a project. We lose ourselves. We lose our energy. And worst of all, we become ill. How I know a person is depleting their life force by entangling or identifying with another person, their body is sick. Immune system is messed up. A bad immune system means not knowing how to maintain energetic boundaries. Fact. Okay? You can create, and here was a study that was done by, I think it was Dr. Joe Dispenza, if I'm not mistaken, but he found out that with the testing of COVID, that people that were advanced meditators in their organization did not contract the virus as much as people that were non-meditators. Okay, and of course he teaches meditation in some ways somewhat similar to mine, but the whole purpose is that he works with the energy bodies and he learns how to create energetic boundaries. Your mind can choose what you ingest, what you process in your body, energetically, emotionally, psychically. This is the kind of mastery that we need. Those are the superpowers. That is the superpower, right? So this is essentially what we're learning how to embody deeply in our bodies. And we have to be extremely discerning. It doesn't mean that we're going to walk around like, defending. It's actually more unity than separation, what I'm talking about, if you truly understand it. Okay, because the more you learn to become empathic, the more compassionate you are, and your actions are directed to a higher octave of the need of the person or yourself in that moment. That's a healer. Thank you very much for your response. Thank you so much, Mish. I'm so happy. Sorry, to add to my question, I work in healthcare and work with people who are dying. In those moments, I intuitively project white light, but what else can I do? I know they see and hear everything we do while we are trying to save their lives. Right, absolutely. So Sal, first of all, to work with dead people is your energy structure is stronger than most people, and here's why. Because when people die, they create a vortex in the field. It's a portal that is created, a vortex. Their body, the life force implodes in a way that it changes enough for the human soul to leave the body. Okay, so that's a really powerful force field that you are constantly in and around. And believe it or not, the energy bodies of people that are dying, even though it looks like they're fragile and weak, their energy structure becomes stronger in those bodies, their energy structure, because it has to sustain the movement of the soul from the matter into this higher octave. Okay, so everything kind of changes in those vortexes, the way that they're moving. So that being said, you are deeply connected through your morphogenetic field to the people that are dying in and out, the people that are sick around you. You're super interconnected. So you need to have your bubble around you at all times, 100% extremely grounded. Extremely grounded. Why? Because your source of regeneration is from the planet Earth. When you are working with this kind of interdimensional vortex energy of death, being connected to the earth is your regenerative source of life force. And you must be very grounded. So in your body all the time. Never leave your body. So what will this help you do is that it'll help you connect to the Akashic records. You're already very intuitive. I know that you're super intuitive with the work that you do with your people. But as you connect to the Akashic records will provide you information on this human and what they most need in that moment, intuitively, emotionally, energetically. My invitation to you, since you're doing this kind of shamanic work with them, is essentially to you can intuit what is the color that is most in alignment with them at that time and surround them with that energy. That life force, you can help heal in this way. Usually when working with dead people, if you have people that are in the process of dying, they are going to want to dissolve their karmic contracts as much as possible before they depart. But this has to be a healing that is kind of co-creative. So they have to give you permission to do this. So this is something that you would need to kind of ask. It's not something that you can just impose upon another person. The best healing way that you can be of service to these people is to hold a very strong force field of energy, deeply grounded to the earth, which will allow the necessary information from the Akashic records to illuminate them as they are in the process of their health and whatever health situation they're dealing with. It's about holding space. Never give your energy. Remember that the energy you're bringing is from the source into your space. Okay? And understand so there's a pull here energetically from the solar plexus, like trying to save their lives. We need to work with the contractual agreements because everybody has their time and their lesson. So you can't really save anyone from dying, and I would need to go deeper into that, and I don't have time to do that today. But you guys are working together. You come together to experience co-creative karmic experience. As you hold space in love, you will help them recognize what are the lessons that they need at that exact time in their process of death or in their process of living. They have to choose life or death in that moment. So the more your magnetic field is charged, it will immediately activate their DNA and their memory. Okay, so that's something that happens naturally with everyone. Yeah, Sal, I'll have to talk to you about it later because there's too much I want to say about that, and I don't have time right now. But connect with me, Sal, okay? There's a lot that you can do. Siegfried Blumenau, question, can you say something about how to heal cancer, cancer cells? Yeah, so cancer is essentially it's a product of us becoming deeply parasitic towards ourselves. Okay, that's at the base of this situation, and we have many generations of parasitic activity towards ourselves, self-hating, deep unworthiness, deep powerlessness. Anytime that we have deeply betrayed our creative potential, it turns into cancers. Okay, but that's a choice. That's a timeline choice that every human has. And to reverse this kind of work, we need to, in other words, regain our power and heal any part of ourselves that's become parasitic towards ourselves. That's how we alchemize that emotionally. Okay, there's a lot of amazing technology now that is available for cancer, and these kinds of terminal illnesses are the ones that are going to be helped by technology. Okay, these are the kinds of illnesses that we do want this technology, because the technology has been available for a long time, but it has been suppressed by these systems. So this will be a time for that to come out now. And so we want that. And so if we can try to heal ourselves the best as possible from cancer, from those parasitic thoughts, create an environment of nervous system regulation, create an environment of homeostasis in the body through your emotions. When working with cancer patients, emotions are the number one target. We need to learn how to regulate the emotions, because the human has depleted their emotional energy too much for too long without having proper boundaries. Okay, and those are the kinds of things that cause cancer. Another way of having imbalanced exchange with your life force is to suppress emotions like sorrow in the body, pain, anger, for such a long time. That's a parasitic behavior, right? You suppress it for such a long time that it manifests into a self-destructive illness. Okay, so profound levels of forgiveness, profound levels of acknowledgement, liberating yourself from limiting belief systems that sustain you in parasitic behaviors towards yourself. Those are the kinds of things that have to be addressed emotionally, psychologically. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you. We are ending at the right time. So I'm going to pause for about I want to take like a 10-minute break, 10-minute break or so. Please go to the restroom, drink some water, eat some food, whatever you need. And then we're going to jump into the hypnotherapy. And The hypnotherapy, as you know, some of you that have been with me, I'm going to guide you through the hypnotherapy into the deep subconscious mind. It's going to be really quick. You're going to drop in really fast, especially with these energies right now. And as we get into that, we're going to go deep into the guiding of that. And I will take you on a journey for self-healing. Okay? So please go ahead and drink some water, go to the restroom, and we'll meet here in 10 minutes. So that's like 1:18 at this time. That's Pacific time, 1:18.